and I'm a specialist in healthy conflict management and effective communication for couples. The topic or the question for this video is: should I lower my expectations in my relationship? And this video is for the people that sometimes tell themselves, like, I don't need that. You know, I, when something feels like it's missing your relationship, you just tell yourself, like, I'm fine. I shouldn't need that. Like, I should be fine, right? And it could be anything really. It could be affection, it could be quality time, it could be just having emotional support or kinder words, any of those things. And then you just shut yourself down sometimes, just telling yourself. Sometimes you just feel strong because you know you're strong. You'll be fine in this relationship, and that's what you tell yourself. I can just live without that and I'll be fine. Um, and that voice maybe is trying to protect you. Most likely is trying to protect you from maybe, maybe you're going to try to get them to be nicer to you or to go with you somewhere and spend time with you. And you kind of noted that they really don't want to spend that time with you, or they don't want to go to that place, and it feels like a rejection. So maybe you're protecting yourself from that. Or we're going to talk about that. But that voice is trying to protect you, but it might also be quietly just starving your relationship. So we're going to talk about the differences between needs and preferences, because that's what I hear sometimes from my clients. They say, "Oh, that's not a need. That's just, it's just something I prefer, but I'll be fine without it. It's just a preference." So we're going to talk about that difference, and we're also going to talk about how to effectively communicate those needs at the end. So first, needs and preferences. So when my clients say, like, I don't need that, well, what are we talking about? Are we talking about survival, or are we talking about a thriving relationship? Because if it's about survival, yeah, you don't need a bunch of things. You just need water, food, you know, shelter. That's about it. But if you want a thriving relationship, there's a lot of other things that you need. Yeah, for me to feel full, what's thriving? For me to feel full of life, like I'm really enjoying this relationship, you need a lot of things. And those are what we call universal human needs. We need connection, we need play, we need safety, we need free expression, we need a lot of things. Now, if we're talking about preferences, there are preferences within those needs. So everyone has a need for connection, but let's say some people feel more connected with when they're engaged in a deep conversation. And other people feel more connected when we just go and hang out together and go hiking and have this fun experience together. So those are preferences and how we fulfill that human universal need. And um, there are still differences between people. Some people are more like, this is what I like to, I like to make these references to plants, right? So you can be a cactus or you can be a lotus. Lotus. I didn't say that right. So if if you some people kind of like just tell each other that they're wrong for having certain needs or certain preferences. But the truth is they're not wrong. They're just differences. They're just different, like cactuses and lotuses. Some people need a lot more water and other people don't in order to thrive. If you feed them too much water, they're just going to feel smothered. And other people need less. And that's how they feel. That's how they feel good. So that goes for preferences and that goes for needs too. Now, eh, I there's like two psychologists that I really like, Gottman, Dr. Gottman, and Dr. Rosenberg. He's into nonviolent communication. Check him out; he's great. And he usually says that it's just even if they are present there with you, even if they're trying to give you that connection in the way that they know how to give you that connection, you might be experiencing that differently. And what matters is how you experience that. If you need it differently, that's your need, that's your preferences, and that's what we have to express. That's what we have to learn how to communicate more effectively for the other person to know, oh, maybe she needs more words of affection, maybe she needs more time, and give them a chance to give you what you need. Give them a chance to see if that is a new language that they're willing to try with you and they can show up differently for you. And that's what effective communication does for you. So again, if we go to the thriving and surviving metaphor with the plants, my hair is going crazy today. I'm so sorry, guys, but I hope you enjoy watching it being funny. So again, if we go back to the plant metaphor, um, you can you can be feeding a plant, you can be giving it water, and it's gonna turn brown, it's gonna start not looking good, and it's still alive, it's technically alive, but it's not, something's missing, right? So you can say, yeah, I'm fine, I'm alive, I'm good, even though I'm needing these things, but I'm good. But you're not going to feel fully thriving in that relationship. And that's your inner compass telling you that maybe it's time to communicate. I'm not fulfilled in this relationship. I'm needing more of this, or more connection, or more safety, or more play in my relationship. And this is how I achieve it. Would you be willing to work with me? And the dangers of not communicating this is that sometimes we start shying back, just thinking that we shouldn't have those needs, that we should fulfill those needs on our own, which that's not like doable in relationships. Um, we Dr. Gottman calls this emotional bits for connection. We often throw like, hey, hints to our partner to connect with us. It could be very silly, like, hey, oh, look at this guy. Oh, look at this. And when they turn towards us, that feels like connection. It could be small bits for connection, and it could be huge ones like, I need you here tonight because I'm feeling sick. And that lets us know that our partner is willing to be there for us. So the more we throw and just let our partner know, throw an emotional bit for connection, and the more our partner answers how we feel connection, that is like putting money in our bank account, in our emotional bank account. That's what Dr. Gottman, how he conceptualizes this. So the more money we have in that bank account, the more we're because life happens. We cannot always be aware of our partner, even if we try. Shit happens, and we're in our brains and we're on our phones, right? So sometimes our partner is going to say something and we're going to be like, huh, yeah, like what? And we miss it. Or sometimes we just turn against it, like, no, that did not happen that way. And either turning away or turning against it, it's like drawing money from that bank account. So when that happens, um, if you have enough emotional and coins in that bank account, then it is not going to feel that bad. You're going to know that, okay, my partner just, okay, we're going to talk it out. But if it's empty, if that emotional bank account is empty, it's going to feel like an attachment injury almost. So that's why it's important that you throw those bits for connection, and that we stay attuned and connected to our partners to respond to them so that we can stop putting money into it. Now, if we think that maybe I should lower my expectations, or I don't need that, I'm just not going to ask for it, and we stop communicating, we are basically ensuring that our partner is not going to respond to those emotional bids. We're not putting them out there. So we are making that bank account go lower and lower and lower. And what's going to happen? You're going to start feeling resentful at your own doing. You're going to start getting resentful. So, and whenever you actually decide, okay, this is actually important. I'm going to say it. I need this because this is actually important. And your partner either doesn't notice, turns away, or dismisses it, or turns against. No, you shouldn't need that. Your bank account is low because you haven't been throwing those bits for connection. So, what that means is that happens, it's going to feel like I'm going bankrupt. And it's going to feel more than it it had to feel, right? So that's why it's important that you stay engaged, constantly communicating your needs and what you're needing to thrive, not to just survive and hang out and it be enough to be in this relationship. So that's when lowering expectations becomes dangerous. And of course, the more you start silencing yourself, the more you start walking back, the more isolated you're going to feel within your relationship. And your relationship will slowly turn into just roommates, basically, just trying to get things done. And that feeling leaves you in a relationship feeling very lonely. And research shows that you end up getting sick more often, having more problems, emotional, and like that's when you're not thriving, then you're more likely to get sick. Uh, stress, it's crazy. Even like risk of early death. It's like so important to stay connected to people. That's how humans are. So what a lot of people say, and I find very interesting, is that a lot of people like think that they're being strong by not needing these things when they actually do. God, my hair is just going crazy. When they're actually needing those things. So I'm strong, I can handle it, I'll survive. But what you're actually seeing as strength is not real like strength. You just need it. If your inner compass is telling you, I'm not really fulfilled with this, then it's self-abandonment. You're not giving yourself what you need, and it's emotional avoidance. You're not expressing what you need. You're avoiding it. Why? Because it's scary. Because if we tell someone, "Hey, I need this to thrive," and the other person is like, "What? Your needs are not important," or I'm not going to do that for you." It's very hurtful. It's very hurtful. It's scary because that person may actually not be willing to give that to us. And you might actually have to face some choices. Like, if this person is not willing to give this to me, then shit, I'm not going to have the relationship that I wanted. So I may actually have to g- break up. What? Or think of myself of someone that's just going to be like, okay, yeah, like your self-worth is on the line. So it's very scary to actually be honest and be communicating your needs. But truthfully, it's just so much better to do it as earlier as you can because there is someone that will be willing to give that to you. There is like, and if you don't give the chance to this person to actually get to know you, to actually get to know your needs and be willing to try at least, you're already setting yourself up for failure. So that's the importance of it. Now, um, it is true, like some people have learned how to attach differently. Some people need more independence than others. So it's like cactuses and lotuses. So just because you have that need, it's the same people could have the need of connection by like deep conversation, let's say. But some people may need it more than the other one. So this is what Dr. Gottman calls love maps. So as we grow, we change how much we need of something, we change our preferences, and we get to explore different things. So that's why it's so important to keep ourselves updated on actually I'm liking more hiking like this season. I'm liking it more. And keep ourselves updated in how we can help our partner have a thriving life, not just a partnership. Because again, the partnership is to help us enjoy this life more, have a thriving life. So I wanted to touch that into updating our love maps. And if we again don't communicate, how are we going to update that map? So now the moment, what can we do instead of just staying quietly? How can we communicate this? If you start feeling that you have a need, you don't know how to express it. So the first thing that I want you to ask yourself is, what would it look like for me to receive? Because we're pretty good at saying like, oh, I don't like this, or the negatives. So the positive, how would it look like for me to receive my need in a way that I would feel fulfilled? How can my partner shine for me? What can he or she do for me to feel like I'm thriving? Man, I would really like to go every weekend and hike with him. That's what would be okay. So then we can start there. That's a positive request. Then, um, if I communicated this clearly, or have I kind of just thrown it in there, kind of secretly, like, oh, maybe next weekend, it would be fun. But this is what partners sometimes do. They just throw things and think they're being clear. I thought I told you, but again, now in this world with phones, it's very important. At least this is what I've seen. Like people think that they're being clear when they're not. So they come into a session and it's like, well, how did you tell me that? Well, you were doing this. Yeah, okay. So it's very important that you really give the importance of your needs. And what I like to do with my husband is whenever I feel like I'm needing something, I just grab his cheek and like, baby, I would really like this. Make sure I have eye contact and that he responds to me. Because otherwise it's not effective communication. But that is what a lot of couples I see doing, and it's no joke. Now, like I said, it's very scary. It's very scary to do this. So because you might face rejection. So what I advise and what I've also read a lot, like Dr. Gottman, he's like, you guys have to check him out too. He's amazing. They've been researching couples for like over 50 years. So they're like OGs in this. And what he does, he says just start slow and like really expressing what you feel, what you need, and what you want. How would you feel fulfilled? So start with little like lower risk or lower stakes, things that you kind of feel more comfortable feeling rejected with. And that way just letting your partner know and giving them the option to reject you basically. Because a lot of some of my clients say like, whoa, but I wouldn't want to be changing my partner, or isn't that controlling if I just keep telling them and telling them what I need? Isn't that controlling? And it's not controlling when you're just telling other person what you need and giving them the chance to say, yes, I want to, or I don't want to. It's an invitation, it's a request, it's not a demand. That's different when you're telling someone to do something or threatening, if you don't do this, I'll do that. It's very, very different. The tone is very different. An invitation sounds, I would really like to do this. Would you do this for me? Or I would love to. Would you be willing? Would you be open? That's an invitation. And that is definitely not controlling. The other person can say no. And that's that. That's what's scary, right? So again, just to close this up, you might definitely survive without the affection that you want. You might survive without the quality time that you want, without the emotional intimacy that you want. You'll survive. You'll be fine. Hmm. But at some point, surviving just isn't really enjoyable. You're going to need more than that. And you can keep telling yourself that you don't need that, but you kind of like in those type of relationships, because I've been in those type of relationships where I kept telling myself that I was fine, kind of start to slowly not enjoying life, and you start slowly disappearing and just okay, I guess I don't need it. What do you want to do? Okay, I guess I'll be fine with that. And you just disappear. You become unimportant and you keep telling yourself that your needs don't matter, and that the way that you keep basically teaching yourself and telling yourself that the way that you want to be loved does not matter. And what matters most is that you tell yourself that you matter and that you deserve to be loved how you want to be loved. So, your needs, I would really like you to try to reframe this. I want you to have a thriving life. I want you to have a thriving relationship, and you can have it. And in order to have that, first, the relationship that you have with yourself needs to change. And you need to know that your needs are not too much. You might be a lotus, you might need more water, and that's fine. That doesn't make you sick. That just makes you a beautiful lotus. So your needs aren't too much, and your preferences are perfectly valid. Now, you, I want you to ask yourself what feels good for you? What feels, how would you thrive? And to communicate that kindly, respectfully, and openly to everyone around you. Uh, and you might be afraid to lose connection because they might reject you, but actually expressing yourself openly like that is what might actually save you and give you the connection that you want. So I want to leave you with that message. And let me see now the comments to see if you guys have any good questions for me. Thank you so much. I do. I do. Now, inner compass. Okay. So, inner compass, some people have actually asked me, like, what's your inner compass? So, when we grow up, most of the times, and some of my clients have actually told me this, that they grew up saying, like, I need this, and their parents were telling them that they don't need that. Your feelings are not, you shouldn't be feeling that way right now about what I did, about yelling with you. You should be fine. And that you don't need that. So we start distrusting our own feelings and not really realizing what our needs are, because our parents were constantly telling us that we weren't right for feeling the way that we feel. But the truth is that when you feel something, it might be because your thoughts or how you were perceiving the situation was off. And yeah, maybe we can change that. But the fact that you felt that gives you information of how you were thinking about the situation. So you can go ahead and work on yourself, but also the situation might not be the best and you might want to change that. So trusting your inner compass means knowing that what you feel matters. It tells you that there is a need that's not being met, that there's something that you're wanting from that, and pursuing that. Because the people that constantly shut themselves down and tell themselves that they don't need that, then you stop pursuing that thriving life that you want. So that's the inner compass. The feelings, your feelings matter. And it's not that you should not have those feelings. They're there for a reason. And they're there to just look at it and just look at your inner compass and go to that towards that direction. So love you guys so much. I'm going to be here next weekend, next Saturday. Give me more questions, good questions. I'm going to be here to answer them. And um, give me a thumbs up and share this video if you think it's going to help someone have a more fulfilling life and thriving relationship. Lots of hugs. Peace out. How do I turn this up?